At the beginning of the story, we are shown a boy who is searching for the easiest way to die on the internet, but his eyes fall on an ad for a taxi service whose slogan is "Don't die, take revenge. We will help you." The boy is about to call the taxi service number, but as soon as he starts dialing, he thinks that someone might have posted it as a joke, so he ignores it and goes to school the next day. At that time, the boy was having difficulty walking because one of his legs was fractured. As soon as he saw the three boys who had put him in such a condition, he lost his courage, and tears started flowing from his eyes. Instead of going to school, he goes to his mother's fish shop. His mother can neither hear nor speak. She runs her shop with the help of a notepad. Seeing this, the boy becomes even more sad. He understands her situation but doesn't know with whom he should express his feelings. Then he remembers the advertisement for the taxi service and calls the number. Sunshal, the director of the taxi service agency, receives the call and immediately sends a taxi. After sitting in the taxi, the boy asks the driver where they are going. The taxi driver says that he will take revenge. The boy then starts telling his story to the driver. First, he tells his name, which is Park. He was transferred to the school only a few months ago. Once during the break, three boys came near Park and started commenting on the smell of fish coming from his uniform. Park told them very respectfully that his mom has a fish shop, which is why the smell of fish is coming from his clothes. From that day onwards, those boys started targeting Park every day. Park got upset and complained to the school teacher, but the teacher advised him to make friends with those boys. The teacher even commented on the smell coming from Park's clothes. As soon as the teacher left the room, those boys once again caught hold of Park and forced him to go with them to a karaoke place. During this, they beat him severely and tore all his clothes. They also snatched all his money. On another day, they took him with them, but that day there was nothing near Park, so they threw him in the middle of the road. One of them ran his bike over Park's feet to make it look like an accident. This time, Park decides to fight for his rights. He goes to the police station and lodges a report against those boys, but the police officer gives this information to the school committee. When Park returns home, he sees that those three boys are having dinner with his mother. In fact, they have come to threaten Park that if he opens his mouth, they will kill his mother. Seeing the situation, Park's mother realizes that something wrong has happened to him. She asks him to tell the truth, but Park is unable to say anything. The three boys also apologize in front of the principal and say that next time they will play carefully. This puts the matter to rest. The scene then shifts to the present time, where the taxi driver drops Park outside a gaming room and hands him an envelope with the game number written on it, along with instructions for starting the game. The taxi meter is increasing. After the game is over, Park has to pay the taxi fare. He is also told not to tell anyone about this taxi game. At first, Park is asked to leave, but when he remembers how he was bullied, he gets ready to take revenge and chooses the yes option on the screen. The taxi service team sitting in the basement is listening to Park's story. Go Yan, a member of the taxi service, starts her research on this case, which leads to the discovery that the name of one of the three boys is Seon Tae. Seon's father is a trustee of the school, which is why he continues to do whatever he wants. Photographs of the three boys are taken, after which the head of the taxi service team says that although these three are mannered, they should not ignore their actions. Then the taxi driver switches on the doggy meter and reaches a restaurant. He secretly takes someone else's food and mixes something in it. The food actually belongs to Park's teacher, who falls ill after eating it. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the taxi driver applies for the position of substitute math teacher in that school and gets selected. On the first day, the driver, now posing as a teacher, gives his introduction and starts taking class attendance. Meanwhile, Seon Tae, forced by his habit, was deliberately disturbing the class. He walks out of the class, saying how nice the weather is outside. Both his friends also follow him. After the class is over, Seon's two friends throw an empty can of cold drink at the new teacher, referred to as Doggy. To tease him, they ask him for a cigarette, to which Doggy responds that as students, how can they ask a teacher for a cigarette? Seon defends his friends and tells Doggy that he is not their real teacher but just a part-time worker. Then Seon slaps his friends and starts shouting so that everyone thinks they are fighting. After this, they steal money from Doggy's wallet and leave. Doggy shares the experience of his first day with Go-yan, who laughs and teases him. Later, Seon and his friends decide to buy some things that day. Because they want to impress some girls but can't buy cigarettes themselves due to their age, they give money to a poor woman and ask her to buy cigarettes for them. They get cigarettes from that woman, but instead of giving her money, they give her food and leave. In the evening, all three of them reach a club with their respective girlfriends. Their girlfriends are happy to see the cigarettes. Meanwhile, Go-yan and Doggy have installed a hidden camera through which they are watching everything. Just then, some men wearing black suits arrive, to whom Seon gives an envelope filled with money. Here we come to know that these three boys were also involved in some illegal business. The next day, all three are smoking cigarettes in the school bathroom while bullying another boy. Doggy starts to leave the washroom and tells the bullied boy to come with him, saying he wants to talk about something. When Seon refuses, Doggy reminds him that he is his teacher and takes the child out of there. In the next scene, the three friends are sitting at Seon's house, planning how they will get revenge on Doggy. The next day, they again try to get an old man to buy cigarettes for them, but coincidentally, he already has cigarettes. After this, one of them goes and tells Doggy that a student's parents have come to meet him. As soon as Doggy leaves the staff room, they put an obscene magazine in his bag. San then catches a female student and asks her to trap Doggy. When the girl refuses, he pulls her hair and threatens her. After some time, Doggy is seen looking around in the library because he doesn't know which parents are supposed to meet him. Meanwhile, the girl takes off her sweater, sits on the library floor, and starts screaming. Soon everyone gathers there. When a female teacher asks the girl why she's screaming, she claims that Doggy took inappropriate photos of her and put them in his bag. Sion was standing there, smiling as he saw his plan succeeding. The female teacher insults Doggy harshly. During this time, Doggy winks at the girl, which confuses San and his gang. The principal calls everyone to the classroom and scolds Doggy, asking how such a thing could happen in his class. When asked about Sion's desk, Doggy points towards it. The principal immediately checks Sion's desk, from which the girl's notes come out. Now the blame for all this falls on Sion. The female teacher angrily asks the girl what really happened in the library, to which the girl says that an insect had gone into her shirt. Doggy passes by and smiles after seeing Scene. Then we are shown a flashback scene. Actually, when Sion's friend had put the magazine in Doggy's bag, Doggy's hidden camera recorded everything. Seeing this, Go-Yan wore her school uniform, went to the staff room, took the magazine from Doggy's bag, and put it in Sion's bag. Then she called the principal and tearfully told him about those notes. In the present, when the female teacher realizes that Doggy is innocent, she apologizes to him. Doggy acts very emotional. After being scolded by the principal and the teacher, Sion blames his friend for everything and starts beating him. Sion says that because of his friend he had to endure so much humiliation. Sion's other friend tries to calm him down, but Sean brushes him off as well, telling him not to interfere in his matter. After leaving school, the three of them see that the police are searching the old man because he was selling marijuana, not cigarettes. The police ask him about his customers, and he starts pointing towards them, but Sion and his friends immediately run away. After this, Sion takes all the remaining cigarettes and buries them in the ground. The next day, before class starts, Sion tells everyone that if anyone talks to the teacher, he will kill them. When Doggy comes in and says good morning, no one responds. Sion deliberately takes out his phone to provoke Doggy and starts playing a game, while his friends start recording a video to capture Doggy getting angry. However, Doggy understands their plan and tells the students that today they will not study but will watch some videos. He then plays a video on the screen showing the three boys burying the cigarettes. Doggy quickly switches off the video and says it was played by mistake. Sion and his friends become worried. After class, they ask Doggy about it. Doggy says that he had actually gone to enjoy the view of the forest but suddenly noticed them. All three of them start explaining to Doggy that they do not smoke marijuana. Doggy pretends to believe them and says that he will not tell anyone about what he saw. In the next scene, all three are again in the forest. They go in and start digging where they had hidden the cigarettes, but find nothing. At the same time, Sion gets a call from Doggy, who tells him that he handed over the cigarettes to the police but didn't to police to reveal their names. In this situation, Sion starts feeling very helpless. The next day, to irritate Sion, Doggy orders food from him. When San refuses, Doggy reminds him of the marijuana incident, leaving San with no other option. Doggy gives him money for the food. After class, all three of them search about marijuana on the internet and learn that possessing it is illegal and can result in 5 years in jail. Sion immediately calls Doggy and threatens to kill him. When the three of them return home, they see Doggy playing a game with Sion's dad. Sion gets nervous seeing this. In the next scene, we see Doggy lying on Sion's bed and demanding 1.5 million won, approximately 1,515,000 in local currency from all three. Sion agrees but puts a condition that he will decide the day and time of giving the money. As soon as Doggy leaves, Sion considers asking someone for help. After this, we see Doggy meeting Park. He asks him to start going to school again and gives him some food. Later, Park helps his mom close her shop. When asked about the food, Park says it was given to him by his teacher. Mother and son go home talking lovingly. The next day, Doggy arrives at the school terrace to collect the money, where some men in black suits are present. Go-Yan asks Doggy if they should keep the setup ready, to which Doggy agrees. Then there's a fierce fight between Doggy and those men. Doggy defeats everyone one by one. Meanwhile, San tries to attack Doggy but seems frozen in place. Doggy then moves towards Sion, whose condition worsens. Doggy tells him that he himself doesn't have the courage to jump from the roof, but still forces others to do so. Saying this, Doggy kicks Sion and throws him down from the terrace. Doggy then turns towards Sion's friends. Both of them start begging Doggy for mercy. Out of fear, they even wet themselves. Doggy reminds them about Park. In the very next scene, we see both of them turning themselves into the police, asking to be locked up for bullying Park because they don't want to die like San. In the next scene, we see Doggy going to a bakery where he had kept someone captive. It was none other than Sion actually. When Go-Yan had talked to Doggy about the setup, His team had placed a big cushion under the building. Sion was left unconscious after falling. Doggy then makes Sion talk to the gangster he fought with on the terrace. The gangster convinces Sion to listen to his teacher. Doggy tells Sion that he will pay for everything Park eats from that bakery, and for any leftover food. He will have to pay the same amount as compensation for the emotional and physical trouble he caused Park when Sion says he doesn't have money. Doggy offers him a way to earn money and pay him back, warning that if he tries to run away, he'll have to pay 10 times more. Doggy reminds Sion of all the boys he had bullied like this. Then he puts a candle on a cake and tells Sion that this is a new beginning for his life. That evening, Doggy meets Park and gives him the total taxi fare. Park gets sad after seeing such a high fare, but Doggy tells him that he can pay the money little by little, saying this will make him stronger. In the next scene, Sun Chul, the director of the taxi service, meets Park's mother and tells her that his organization is giving Park a scholarship that will cover his education expenses. Park's mother is very happy after hearing this. Gradually, Park's life starts becoming like that of a normal child again. During this time, Doggy continuously keeps an eye on him to ensure he doesn't face any problems. Even after solving this case, Doggy's mission of helping persecuted people continues. We then see a girl named Maria crying, planning to end her life. At that moment, one of her slippers falls under the bridge. She's about to jump when her eyes fall on the sign of a taxi service which reads, "Don't die. Take revenge." She immediately calls that number, after which Doggy arrives to pick her up. When asked where they're going, Doggy tells her they're going to take revenge. Doggy turns on the audio recorder and starts asking Maria about her story. We're then shown a flashback where we see that Maria was an orphan child. Despite being 18 years old, her mind was like that of a 9 to 10-year-old child. After saying goodbye to her friends, she was going for a job in a factory with a social worker. They had Maria sign a contract. At first, everything was going well for Maria, but as soon as the social worker left the factory, the manager handed over the job of separating fish to Maria. Maria said she was supposed to work on the computer. The manager said she would get that work too, but first she had to finish this task. Maria said she was afraid of fish. At the same time, the owner of the factory arrived. When he learned that Maria refused to work, he grabbed her hair and dipped her head in a tub full of fish. Then he started asking Maria if she was still afraid of fish. The factory owner didn't stop there. He slapped her and did other abusive things, including hitting her on the head. After this, they made Maria sit in a dry ice drum, poured a sack full of salt on her, and closed it. After keeping the drum closed for some time, they threw hot water on Maria. After enduring so much torture, Maria was forced to work in the factory. One night, Maria took a chance and ran away. On the way, she met a police officer from whom she asked for help, but that officer was also in league with the factory owner. He took Maria back to the factory, where she was again brutally tortured. The police officer had dinner with the factory owner, and then further tortured Maria, who was locked in a drum, by pouring water on her face and threatening that if she tried to escape again, he would not help her. The situation worsened when the manager called Maria to another room and raped her. After all this trauma, Maria, in shock, tried to commit suicide. She was taken to the hospital, from where she ran away and ended up on the bridge. The scene then shifts to the present day where Doggy drops Maria outside the gaming room. She has an envelope with instructions in her hand. After reading them, she presses yes for revenge. As soon as Maria taps yes, all team members receive a message on their pagers that their next mission is ready. Upon receiving the message, they all leave their work and reach their underground location to complete their mission. A team member tells Goyan that his pager is outdated and he needs a new one. He asks why they don't use mobile phones, to which Goyan replies that using mobile phones is riskier. Sun Chul then puts photos of the factory manager and owner on a board and tells his team that both men have the image of very hardworking businessmen in society, who are also fully supported by the police. The whole team gets involved in their mission with all their might. Doggy leaves in his taxi and does a thorough investigation from outside the factory, while Goyan and the rest of the team convert their van into a food truck. At night, when the factory manager and owner feel hungry, they order food from the pamphlet that Goyan and the team have distributed. The factory staff are happy to see such fast delivery of food, but they don't know that an anesthetic has been mixed into their food. As soon as both the manager and owner become unconscious, Doggy enters the factory and inserts a USB drive into the manager's phone to transfer all the data to Goyan. Then Doggy sees a hidden safe in the factory and asks Goyan for the password. Goyan tries to guess the password using the information from the manager's phone, but is unsuccessful. While checking the manager's phone, Doggy's eyes fall on an obscene photo of Maria taken by the manager. This further fuels Doggy's desire for revenge. The movie ends with a teaser, suggesting that to know what happens next in the story. Viewers, very soon I will upload the next part of this story. Till then, watch out and take care. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then stay with me.